Welcome. I, 23 female, had been in a relationship with my boyfriend, let's call him Jake, 25, since 3 years ago. 2 years ago, we moved into our first apartment together, and it seemed like the beginning of our happily ever after. Our relationship was healthy until a few months ago. We had occasional arguments, but nothing major. I know I made mistakes and ruined the previous happy relationship we had. I'm well aware of it, so there's no need to rudely point it out. I'm just here because I'm looking to vent, not because I want your judgment or advice. Please keep that in mind before you start reading. In December of last year, I had to move out of state for a work assignment. It was a great opportunity for me with additional benefits, so he encouraged me to take it. We simply decided to continue our relationship long distance during those few months. It was going great at first. Now, here's where I messed up. In early January, me and my team hit a roadblock in our assignment. It was a very stressful period, and to let loose, we decided one day to go to a music festival nearby. That night, me and one of my male colleagues ended up in a bar drinking, just the two of us, since the others were still in the concert. One thing led to another, and we booked a motel room and spent the night together. We've always had something between us, so it was only a matter of time till we ended up on the bed anyway. We got up early next morning and joined the rest of our group as if nothing happened. Then, throughout our stay for the assignment, we ended up sleeping together constantly. Even in the midst of it happening, I knew it was wrong. But he made me feel things my boyfriend never did. He did things my boyfriend never did, and the excitement of sleeping behind everybody else's backs was just so exciting. Excitement was something lacking in my relationship, I think, because my boyfriend is one of those calm, mature men, so it felt novel to me. But then, one of our teammates discovered us in bed together. We had forgotten to lock the door, and she opened the door without so much as a knock. Then she shrieked, which alerted everybody else, and everybody came running to our room to find the two of us on bed together. I don't think anybody here has any idea how entirely humiliating it is when you're on bed after coitus and everybody on the planet barges in. My teammates were appalled. They knew we were both in serious relationships. Somehow, the news made it to my boyfriend in no time, and he flew in the next day. We talked, and he needed all the details. I gave him a toned-down version and said it was a drunken one-night stand, but he didn't believe me. He said he knew something was off the last few weeks and pressed for truth. So I came clean and told him everything. He left next morning, and I'm yet to hear from him. It's been almost 2 weeks, and he's blocked me on every platform. I called his sister too, but she screamed at me and told me if I contact him again, she'll hunt me down and break my neck. I'm not scared of her, and I told her just as much. I'm very much in love with my boyfriend, and I'm hurting seeing him hurting. And I loathe myself because I know I'm the cause of that pain. It's been very awkward over here as well because all my teammates are ignoring me and the other guy now. We still have a few weeks left, and I can't wait to see this end. Since me and the guy are kinda isolated, we've sort of become close to each other, so there's that problem as well. All in all, I'm lost what to do. Me and my boyfriend still have a couple of months left on the lease, and I hope he won't break it and leave me hanging. I would not be able to afford the apartment on my own. My life has been upended out of nowhere, and I've no clue what I'm gonna do. I want to improve the situation and make it more pleasant for both of us, but my attempts thus far have been futile. I desperately hope that we can reunite someday, and the mere thought of him being with someone else tears me apart. Edit. To those asking if I'm still sleeping with the other guy, I would say it's none of your business. Comments. For some men, accepting and reconciling with a cheating partner can be more challenging than for women. It's not solely about the act of sex. There are deeper emotional implications for them. The fact that their wife or girlfriend has been physically intimate with another man and had his sperm released in them has a lasting impact. As if the semen has been absorbed into their partner's body, and it's not something that can be easily cleaned or erased. This perspective may seem dirty, misogynistic, and unfair, but it's important to acknowledge that these intrusive thoughts and deep-seated emotions exist, even if they are based on societal constructs. They're unfair, but if you need your partner back, you'll need to guide him to see past that to what really went down, and see that it's really not like that. Have a conversation with him about your emotions and thoughts. It's evident that he's still dealing with anger, hurt, and conflicting feelings, even if he doesn't see it as punishment. Ultimately, he needs to make a decision about what he wants for the future. However, it's important to understand that healing and moving forward won't happen instantaneously. Whether you like it or not, your actions have had an impact on him and caused damage. Story 2. Husband 29 and me 28 got married back in 2015. Both of us got introduced by relatives, and I pretty much fell for him because of his looks and physical appearance. He is an introvert by nature and doesn't really share much. It took us a while to get physical, and for him to be comfortable enough around me, his parents passed away at a really young age. His parents passed away at a really young age, which probably has something to do with his behavior. Things were really good for the next few years, and we have no issues till I ruined things. We had a new person join the team, and he used to flirt a lot with me. I never really used to respond in a positive way and always ignored him. But one day, after some work drinks, we kissed. I immediately regretted what I did and felt so guilty it was killing me inside. But I liked the attention I was getting and slept with him. When COVID hit and we started WFH as I could not leave the house, I just kept in touch with him through texts and phone calls. One day, my husband was acting really cold towards me that night. I tried to make a move on him, but he straight up refused and turned me down. That's when my heart sank. And I knew something was wrong as he had turned me down for sex. He became completely cold and turned into a different person. That whole week was horrible, and I really didn't like living like that, so I asked him what's wrong. He took a deep breath and told me I was only going to get one chance to come clean, and if I lied, he would not bother asking me any more questions, and that was it. He asked me since how long have I been cheating on him because he checked my phone records and saw the multiple calls and text messages to a single number at odd times. He found out who that number belonged to and got more details. I came clean and told him everything. He was suspicious of my behavior but was not 100% sure I was cheating on him. But once I confirmed the affair, that totally broke him. That was the first time I saw him cry in 5 years, and I felt so horrible. He was in so much pain that he couldn't even speak. He just locked himself in the guest room and told me to stay away from him as he didn't want to see me. In the morning when I woke up, I straight away headed to the guest room to not find him there at all. He left a letter where he spoke about our marriage and his love for me and how I easily ruined everything. At the end, he wrote a poem which made me cry and said that was the last time he was contacting me and he wanted a divorce. He was going to stay with his sister for the time being till he finds other accommodation. After almost 2 months of no contact and many discussion through emails and promises, he said he will give me a chance. But things will never be the same, and it was better that we divorced each other. I cried a lot the day he came home and was happy that he gave me an opportunity. We did have a few fights, but I tried my best to please him. After about 6 months, things finally got better and we started to get intimate with each other. But I really feel I lost him before he would care a lot for me and would nurture me. He only talks to me when I have something to say. He has completely stopped initiating kisses and random hugs. It's only me who does it, and he also doesn't cuddle me for too long. Sex used to be so tender and full of passion. Back then, he would try to swoop me off my feet and initiate sex in such a loving way, but now it's just, wanna have sex? I always give in, but I can see how he withdraws himself when I kiss him during sex and just treats me like a piece of meat. He used to be so dependent on me and would be quite vocal about what he needed, for example, something he wants to eat or wants me to do. I miss doing things for him, and whenever I try to do something on my end, he just tells me he will handle it. His personality has completely changed. When I spoke to him about my concerns, he simply said he doesn't feel like he needs to woo me over to sleep with him, considering how easily I gave it away to a stranger. Yesterday was the worst day of my life. He leaves in the morning and said he'll be back as he had to do something. He didn't return any of my phone calls and was dropped home by his friend early afternoon. When I saw him, I freaked out as his jaw was swollen. That's when I find he has his wisdom teeth taken out through surgery. I felt so stupid in front of his friend. He thought I knew about it. I know my husband is terrified of doctors and surgeries, but he didn't bother to share anything with me and decided to go through it all alone. I have been nonstop crying and don't really want to bother my husband while he's recovering. He totally refuses any help from me, and I don't really know what to do. You are experiencing the consequences of your actions as you had requested. It was clear to your husband from the beginning that what you did had a significant impact on your relationship. And he expressed this when he mentioned the possibility of divorce. Your husband recognizes that you have changed and are no longer the same person he married. He has witnessed your actions and knows what you're capable of, which has led him to expect that it may happen again. As a way to protect himself from further pain, he's chosen not to invest his emotions in you. He doesn't want to experience the devastation he went through when you cheated before. Your actions have ultimately resulted in the destruction of your marriage, and one can only hope that the person and the experience were worth the damage caused. Comments. You say he has changed, but so have you in his eyes. You're not the person he got married to, who he felt intimate and dependent on. That person in his eyes was a lie. You, as a loving wife, never existed. It was all an act. All you see in him is the same he sees in you. An unrecognizable person who isn't the one they fell in love with. You created the person who's now your husband, and you yourself created the person who your husband sees. Try not to think of yourself as the person you were before the infidelity, because you're not and will never be again. Now is the time to seek counseling and work on yourselves and each other to try and create something new or separate permanently. Things will never be the same as they once were. That ship has sailed the moment you strayed, and the point of no return was when he found out. As a lot of people have said, it sounds like there's no recovery for this relationship. Even if it does get better in time, he will never fully trust you again. It will always be in the back of his mind. Also, he's not giving you everything you want. If he was, you wouldn't have allowed what happened with your colleague to happen. As others have said, your story doesn't really add up. I feel horrible and guilty, yet you've stayed in contact with the guy you've slept with? Sounds to me like you're being a bit more calculated than you want people to believe. You're keeping him as a backup in case everything goes wrong with your husband.